2017, Politico has been following a trend of reports related to potential directed energy attacks, where mysterious and serious illnesses have impacted U.S. government agency officials, spies, and diplomats. 26-year CIA veteran Mark Polymeropoulos is one of those injured.
As opposed to, being in a war zone and getting shot at or rocketed, this was something where I felt like I lost control of my body.
They described it as waves of pressure inside their heads. They heard sounds resembling a swarm of insects, for example.
We're beyond the point of saying that, everyone's making this up or everyone's kind of psychosomatic. This is a critical foreign policy issue, and so the United States government has to get it right.
Here's what we know. We started paying attention to it in Cuba in 2016.
Mystery attack on American diplomats and their families in Cuba.
Unexplained illnesses, including head injuries.
What's come to be known as Havana syndrome.
Forced the U.S. to bring home diplomatic staff.
Cuba has denied any involvement in the incidents.
Some scientists have linked these incidents with the effects of what they call directed pulsed radio frequency energy, which is complex. But it's basically just a focused beam of electromagnetic or microwave radiation that can be dialed up or dialed down depending.
In December of 2017, I made a trip to Moscow and I woke up in the middle of the night. I had an extreme case of vertigo. The room was spinning. I couldn't stand. I was physically sick. I had tinnitus, which is ringing in my ears, splitting headache. And I started this, what essentially was a 3-year medical journey. I lost the ability to drive. I lost my long distance vision. I had brain fog.
The New York Times reported that the number of American personnel who have fallen ill under these mystifying circumstances is much higher, possibly more than 130 cases.
In 2020, the National Security Council started looking into these potential attacks, but they have yet to reveal just how widespread the investigation is.
What more can be done to declassify some of that information, share it with members of Congress in a way that allows us to better respond?
Our concern, obviously, with the classification is because we believe that either it's protecting sources and methods and it's critical to our national security, and we'll have to figure that out with you.
In general, people don't accidentally get zapped by high-energy electromagnetic radiation. It's not officially clear that these are coming from a foreign actor or a device, a weapon of any type. However, that being said, there are many people in the administration and who have worked on these cases that believe that it could be a device that is as big as fitting into a vehicle or small enough to be carried in a backpack. One theory is that whoever is behind the attacks is targeting information or a cell phone rather than trying to do harm to a person. Officials believe that the Russian spy unit, the GRU, may be behind this. The other possibilities are China, potentially. Israel also has this type of technology, but Russia is the only one that we know has a footprint in all of the locations where these incidents have happened. The president, I don't believe, has addressed these potential attacks or incidents, but they have made it more of a priority.
It was becoming increasingly frustrating as well because, frankly, the Office of Medical Services didn't believe me. We're getting past that, a bit when you see kind of bipartisan senators and representatives, when you see, U.S. military officials as well as senior CIA officials and the National Security Council as well, all characterize these as attacks.
I will make it an extraordinarily high priority to get to the bottom of who's responsible for the attacks.
One of the big things that the administration and Congress is looking into is how to ensure that victims get access to the care that they need. For example, access to the brain unit at Walter Reed.
Walter Reed gave me 2 things, and I get emotional talking about it, but it's tools, which are ways that I can cope. And it also gave me hope because they actually diagnosed me.
They're tracking down what is causing this.
So imagine if our officers were being targeted by Al-Qaeda or Hezbollah. So you'd put a tremendous amount of resources to, ultimately to detect, deter, and disrupt attacks. And I think that's the same mentality that we need now. And I think that that's where the U.S. government has to go on this, because again, these are individuals being affected at our embassies and facilities overseas, and they can't do our job if they are being attacked.